चैतन्यामनुष्यं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेव श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामीति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम. So thank you all for joining on this Friday evening. So we've already learnt about the two wings of two limbs of devotional service. Second. Okay, so as you all know, we were discussing about the top 5 limbs of devotional service, which are Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtana, Bhagavat Shravana, Mathura Vasa, and Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana. So we finished Sadhu Sangha and Nama Kirtana. So today we'll be doing the Shri Murti Seva. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shri Rupa Goswami states, Anganam Panchakshayasya Purva Vilikitasya cha Nikhila Shrestha Bodhaya Punarapi Atra Samshanam. So these 5 items are glorified because they are completely superior of all the 64 limbs of devotional service. These 5 are completely superior is what the author of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is saying. So I will be discussing a little bit about, technical aspects of what deity is, and then a little bit about how deity worship started, like little history, and then why we should do deity worship, and what are the benefits to us. So these are few things that the details of how it is done is, beyond the scope of this lecture. So that for those who are involved in deity worship, we can do that at some other time. So Shri Murti Seva is also called Shri Vigraha. Shri we call Shri because Shri means opulence. So ideally, instead of calling it Vigraham Murti, it's always best to refer it as Shri Murti or Shri Vigraha because this is a Lord, this is the opulent Lord. And Vigraha means Vividam Sukham Grihnati means Vigraham is Vigraha is something that accepts various type of joys. So it is I should not say it. So Vigraha accepts our worship. And then Murti means Murti actually was in reference to human body. Somebody that falls unconscious from time to time was called Murti in relation to human body. But then Murti is also referred to as Vigraha. And Archa means, so we also call it Archa Vigraha. Archa Vigraha is another term for Sri Murti. So Archa means, Archayate iti means it is worship. So Archa is something that we worship. So Archa Vigraha becomes a form that is worshipped. So that is how the term comes Archa Vigraha for us, which is same as Sri Murti. And usually Archa Vigraha is used only for Bhagavan. So, to refer to the Vigraha of Bhagavan we use, but sometimes, spiritual masters, if there's a Vigraha of the spiritual master, we can still call it Archa Vigraha because that is also worshipable. And then Sri Murtaya, Sri Bhagavat Pratikriya. Hari Bhakti Vilasa calls it Sri Bhagavat Pratikriya means the Sri Murtis are Pratikritis. Pratikritis means exact replica of the Bhagavan. So Murti is not different from Krishna because Hari Bhakti Vilasa says that they are exact replicas of Bhagavan. So why do we need to do Sri Murti Seva? So let us, examine, people may have questions out of all the limbs of devotional service, why should we do, deity worship? Some people may feel it is extensive. Some people may not feel the need of doing deity worship. So on and so forth. So we'll try to briefly address a few because it's very elaborate, the session itself. So,
Radhika Mataji.
Ma, can we all mute, please? Thank you. So, it is said that these 5 items that we are discussing have very inconceivable and astonishing power. So, what to speak of having faith in the Bhaktirasamrita Sindhu says, what to speak of having faith in these items if there's just a little relationship with these items, the persons who are devoid of offenses can attain the level of bhava. So, why should we do Sri Murti Seva? Because, if our goal is doing devotion service, attaining, Supreme Personality of Godhead, being involved in devotion service. So one of the stages of, chanting, as we know, is bhava, right? So bhava precedes prema. So by doing proper, offenseless Sri Murti Seva, we can attain the level of bhava, it is said in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And it is also said in Chaitanya Charitamrita that Sakala Sadhana Shrestha E Panchanga Krishna Prema Janmai Panchera Alpasanga. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is telling us that, Mahaprabhu saying, of all the sadhanas, these 5. So Panchanga, Shrestha E Panchanga. So these 5 angas are Shrestha. So what will be the result? So what will be the, Phala Shruti means it is Krishna Prema. So we get Krishna Prema, how even Alpasanga. So if you take the association of these 5 limbs, even Alpasanga means just a little bit. So if you take a slight association of these 5 angas, then you will get Krishna Prema. So if our goal in this path of bhakti is Krishna Prema, then, this is easily, one of the methods that we can go with. And Srila Prabhupada has described Sri Murti Seva as being, very wonderful and having inconceivable power. And out of the 64 limbs of devotion service, these 5 are what we are describing. And so there are, if you remove these 5 from the 64, there are 59 items remaining. And out of these 59 items, 35 of them are directly related to Archa Vigraha. So if you go into all the 64 limbs of devotional service, 35 of them, 35 plus this 36 are related to Archa Vigraha. So it becomes very important for us to be able to do it and understand it. Then more reasons of why, why we should worship Krishna. Because, Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, if we understand, he says, Manmana bhava matbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. And he says this in 2 places, in 9.34 and also in 18.65. So Krishna himself is saying, engage your mind in thinking of me, become my devotee and worship me. So madhyaji means madhyaji. Madh is me, yaji means worship. So Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita has instructed us to worship him. So then it becomes important that, we follow Krishna's instructions. And also, if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, in Canto 11, complete chapter 27 is dedicated to the instructions on deity worship given by Lord Sri Krishna himself. So he is instructing Uddhava on how to do deity worship. So I thought this was very interesting, because he says this process is accepted by and appropriate for all the occupational and spiritual orders of society. So no matter, where you are in your life, what spiritual order, you could be brahmachari, you could be grihastha, you could be doing any kind of job. It is appropriate for all orders of society, Krishna is saying. And Uddhava is saying actually, and therefore I consider worship of you in your deity form to be the most beneficial of all spiritual practices, even for women and Shudras. So Uddhava is telling that it is appropriate for all kinds of people to do deity worship. And then another reason why we should do deity worship is because, our great Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, it was his, very desire that, Grihasthas do deity worship. So Srila Prabhupada in multiple places expressed that, householder devotees, especially, householder devotees should seriously take up deity worship in their houses. While performing our, Grihastha duties, we should also do deity worship. And that's why, and he opens different centers in the world. Of course, temple deity worship is a little bit different from home deity worship, but for Grihasthas who cannot go to the temple and do the deity worship, he has recommended to do it in the homes. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also requested all the devotees present, when he was preaching Sankirtana moment also, he requested that devotees should be doing Archa Vigraha Seva. And then, so Archa Vigraha, when we do proper deity worship with, some rules and regulations, then you can even attain perfection. And this is called Archana Siddhi. So Archana Siddhi is that by simply doing deity worship, one can go back to Godhead immediately after this life. So this is mentioned in the Narada Pancharatra also. And this is from a letter that Srila Prabhupada writes to Himavati in 1969, saying that householders cannot do strict austerity. So, but every householder can obtain Archana Siddhi. So, see, out of the limbs, even those 9 limbs of devotion service, any one also can lead us to perfection. So, this is one of them. So, and then some questions again, maybe not for this crowd, but general people, if you see those who are not deeply into bhakti or deity worship, the question very commonly asked is, why do we need a form? Of course, people even say, does God have a form? But I'm not going to go into that, because that itself is, a lot of information, and a lot of debate about whether Lord has a form. So we will not go into all that. But some people may ask, why do we need a form? Some people say God is present everywhere, so why do we need a form? Or, I can feel God at home, so why do I need to go to the temple? So on and so forth. So there are multiple questions that, many of us can also have. So again, this is a big topic, but to address a few important things, we are always universally attracted to forms, right? If we all see, when as we are growing up or in our teenage, we probably had like some heroes and heroines, or at least our parents' pictures, or after we have children, we put children's pictures in our wallet, or a wife's picture. So a form gives that more intimate connection, as opposed to not having a picture. So you can feel much more connected with a picture. You can feel much more, love through a picture, rather than, having something abstract. So just imagine the impersonalness, it's very hard to, love a sky. Suppose, they are thinking Lord is everywhere, Lord is impersonal, and he's, all over the sky, or his consciousness himself. Just imagine how hard it is. I always wonder, even I have friends who are like, impersonalists. They're always, God is everywhere, he's all pervading, so no need to go to the temple sort of people. And if he's all pervading, he's around me in this air. But can I worship? Can I relate to him? It's really hard to do that. So having no form makes it very difficult to connect with the Supreme Lord. So the person, and the personal form of Lord is so beautiful, of Lord Krishna. I mean, I just have one picture here, so beautiful and so attractive, that it comprehends. I mean, it's beyond all attraction, beyond all bliss and all taste. So someone who has such a beautiful form, it makes much more sense for us to worship this form. And then in Bhagavatam they say, Atma Ramascha Munayo Nigranta Api Urukrame Kurvanti Haitukam Bhaktim Itham Bhuta Guno Hari. So even this verse says that even Atma Ramas. So who are Atma Ramas? Atma Ramas are those who are, kind of impersonalists, who pray, to their, within their soul, trying to realize their super soul or Paramatma. So they are and in the incomplete phase of bhakti. So either they are praying to the Brahma Jyoti, or they're praying to the super soul within. So even such people actually, I believe, have a desire to render unalloyed devotion service unto the personality of Godhead. So it's the personality of Godhead they always want to worship, although they may not be in a stage to realize that, there is a Bhagavan form. So there's a form of the Lord is there. They may not come to that stage, but they have this desire. So Ittam Bhuto Guno Hari. Guno Hari, like Hari has, so many gunas. So they all have this desire, I believe. Then this is an important slide. I want you all to pay attention. So why does the Lord come in the form of Archa Vigraha to us? Yes, he's all pervading, but why does he come? So this is a nice slide that shows, like, the Lord can exist in different forms, right? So there is a para form. Para form is the form of the Lord that is in Goloka Vrindavan, where he's doing his pastimes. So this form of the Lord may not be easily accessible to us. It is just like, having a big ocean. But, can we drink water of the ocean? No, even though, we could be in the ocean when we are thirsty, we cannot drink the salty water. So that form of the Lord, the para form of the Lord, is not accessible to us. And then there's a Vyuha form. So the Chatur Vyuha that we read, the Sankarshana, or, the quadruple expansions, or the Narayana forms, are the four-handed forms, are also inaccessible to us. It's like a cloud in the sky. So you may be seeing many clouds in the sky, but unless it rains, we cannot access water from a cloud. So that is the Vyuha form. And then the Vibhava form, or all the pastimes that Krishna, the Leelas that Krishna manifests, are, a little bit closer, but still may not be accessible. So it is like a, river that goes in between a high valley. So we may not be very accessible accessibly reach this river also. And then there's the Antaryami form, which is a Paramatma inside us. And that Antaryami form is compared to a well water. So yes, he's there within us, but to get the water out of the well, you need a bucket, you need a rope. So it takes some more effort to get the water out of the well also. So that is Antaryami is close to us, but then it still needs a process. And most yogis and these Atma Ramas are doing that. And then what is Archa form? So here is our discussion. So Archa form is the deity form, and this form is very, very accessible, and it is compared to the tap water. So see, once you just open the tap and the water comes, so just like that, deity is very, very accessible to us. So that is how it is Lord's mercy that he comes in this Archa form, so that he's accessible to us. Anytime you open a tap in the house, there is water. So that is his accessibility to us. And in Bhagavatam, the Prachetas say that Rupam Bhagavata Ev Yitvad Ashesha Klesha Sankshayam Avishtritam Na Klishtanam Kim Anyad Anukampitam. So the Prachetas are glorifying the Lord. They're saying to deliver us from these miserable conditions, you have advented yourself in this transcendental form. So in the transcendental form of Archa Vigraha, Krishna has come. Why? To deliver us from these miserable conditions. So Anukampitam means, very compassionately he has come to deliver us. So, and then, so it is also his mercy that, it is Lord's mercy that he's coming down for us to be accessible for the benefit of the devotee. So, it's for the benefit of the devotee. He's accessible to us. Just want to give another example. Suppose you have you have like, a big elephant, and there is a child that wants to touch the elephant's face or ears or something, and the child obviously cannot reach so high to the elephant's face and touch it. But then this elephant, actually seeing the child, it bends down and sits in front of the child, so that the face becomes very accessible to the child, and the child can caress the elephant. So that is how the Lord is what the Lord is doing for us. So he is coming down, he's bending down and coming to this material world in the form of Archa Vigraha, so that he is accessible to us. So that is purely, his mercy. So even so he is coming in this Archa form, but how he reveals to different people is based on our consciousness. So just like Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyaham. So how the deity manifests to us is, depending on our desire. So how much we are, looking at him purely, or how much faith we have in this Archa Vigraha, that is how he appears to us. So if somebody doesn't have, in the initial phases, some people may not have faith in the deity. So to them, a deity is just a stone. But, for a pure devotee who absolutely believes that it is not different from Krishna, deity is Krishna for them. So they no longer say, he's the deity. You don't even have to say he's the deity form of Krishna. He is Krishna. So for those people whose Chetana or whose consciousness is Jadamayi, so for those, the Vigraha appears as stone. And for those who are a little bit, more elevated in their consciousness, Manomai, for them, the Murti, they admit that, there's something special about the Murti, but they still can't believe that, that is God himself. So that is the Manomaya consciousness. And then those who have much higher consciousness are Chinmayi people. So for them, they see God in stone also. And then they are very clear about the fact that deity is Krishna. And they also understand that, the deity can reciprocate with his devotees. So that is the Chinmay consciousness. So what should we do? Where, each of us may be at different stages of, worship and different stages of faith in believing that, Archa Vigraha is non-different from Krishna. So if we want to see God, what should we do? We should, Acharyas tell us that, God can come even face to face. So how does this happen? We have to have those eyes to see God. So it says Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So we have to have that, kajal, that kajal that allows us to look at the Lord properly. Because right now, we have a very material consciousness. Our eyes are very material. So we may not understand, or we may not see the deity as Lord. But once you have that ointment, or, kajal of love for the Lord, then you start seeing the Lord as or the deity as the Lord. And so this consciousness you have to develop by doing sadhana, which includes chanting. And then advanced devotees, actually, those who are always remembering Krishna, like Smartavyam Satatam Vishnu, those people can actually have Nitya Darshan of the Lord, is what we hear. And then also we should be in a consciousness like, that we say the words Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. What does it mean? You're requesting Jagannath to be the object of your vision. So that is the kind of consciousness we should have. We should pray that, my object of again, all senses we should use in devotional service, just like Ambrish Maharaj. So our eyes should always be, eager to look at to behold the form of the Lord and to see the Lord actually in the deity itself. So Archa Vigraha wanted to emphasize that Archa Vigraha is non-different from Lord. So it is an authorized representation of God. So it is not anything that, we've made up or it's a convenience thing. It is an authorized representation of God and it is completely spiritual. Just like there is no difference between holy name and Krishna, there is no difference between the deity and Krishna. So Pratima Nahitu Sakshat Brajendra Nandan, it is said. So the Shastras are telling us Pratima Nahitu. So you're not a reflection, you're Sakshat Brajendra Nandan. So you are Nanda, son of Nanda. So that is how our consciousness should evolve when we are dealing with the deities. And then, so I hope everybody is convinced of why we should do deity worship. Now, coming a little bit into the history of deity worship. Again, this is a very elaborate thing. I won't go into details. But deity worship was introduced in Treta Yuga, I believe, when the first deity was called Mula Ramayan. And this deity was actually given in the dynasty of Ram, and it came down. I think Vivaswan gave it Ikshvaku, and from them it came Dashrath, and Dashrath actually gave to Ram himself. And then once, what happened? Little interesting story. One, there was a devotee in Ayodhya that I believe never used to eat without offering offering something to Ram in the real Ram in Ayodhya. So once Ram goes away somewhere on a trip, and then that devotee, I believe, did not eat all those days because Ram was not there. So when Sri Ram returned, he learned this, and he gave what Dasharath gave him. This deity, he gave it to that devotee, so that he's able to offer it to the deity and then take his honor, the prasadam, whether Ram was in Ayodhya or not. So that is a little bit of a story. And then from that person, somehow I think it goes to Hanuman, and then now it is in one of the temples in, I want to say Mahabalipuram or somewhere. So this deity is still there and worshipped. And then if you look at the Krishna deities, a lot of this happened in the 1500s, where Krishna instructs. Not this is not 1500, but most of the renovation of temples happened in 1500 in Vrindavan. But initially, Krishna instructed his grandson Vajranabha to install deities in Vrindavan. So the first deities that were installed in Vrindavan are Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Sri Radha Govinda Dev, and Sri Radha Gopinatha. So these three are the very first deities installed in the in Vrindavan. And then how about so what happened till these temples remained till 10,018, when Muhammad Ghazni attacked. So when Muhammad Ghazni attacked Vrindavan, Mathura, Kashi, many of these temples were destroyed. Like if you go to Vrindavan, you can even now see that a lot of temples are half destroyed, and some are renovated, some are not renovated. So there was in a bad shape. And after this invasion of the Mughal rulers, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs Rupa and Sanatan to establish temples again in Vrindavan. So they take it as their mission of life, and we know how Rupa Sanatan go to Vrindavan and re-establish the temples. Now, about Radharani being a part of deity worship, this did not happen before the Goswamis went to Vrindavan. So this happened about 500 years ago. After the 6 Goswamis went, then Radharani was brought. I think the first Radharani was brought for Radha Govinda, and then the Radharani worship started. So why is it important? The Gaudiya Sampradaya says, Haladinira Prema Sara Prema Bhav, Bhavera Paramakashta Nama Mahabhav. So Haladini is the complete essence of the prema. So then from then on, the Goswamis established that Radha and Krishna should be worshipped together. So going into a little bit benefits of deity worship, Srila Prabhupada has said that, I mentioned this. So he wanted the Grihasthas to really take up deity worship. And for those who don't take up deity worship, because as Grihasthas, we are so much engaged in material activities, and we are not doing proper deity worship, Srila Prabhupada says that, their fall down is positively assured. So those Grihasthas that are engaged in material activities and not taking to deity worship, their fall down is positively assured. So this is said in one of the purports. So if somehow it is impossible for them to take up deity worship, then you must at least see deity worship every day, is what is mentioned in Agni Purana. And then for those who it is completely impossible to do deity worship, like you may be very very poor, or you may not have a house, or you may be living on the road or something. For those people, Manasi Puja can be sometimes recommended. So what is Manasi Puja? Is doing your deity worship in your mind. And we have a beautiful example of the Brahmana in Pratishtanpura, who is so poor that he cannot afford a home. So he's living, I think, on the street, and he just has a little tree hole where he installs. He wanted to install a deity, but he's so poor that he could not offer anything. So he has a deity that he used to give back, but he had nothing to offer. So he used to sit down and then imagine that he's getting, water from Ganga in a silver bowl and doing abhishek to the Lord, and he's cooking nice prasadam for the Lord, all in his imagination. And then one day in his imagination, in his Mansi Puja, he offers, kheer to the Lord. And then he's waiting for the kheer to get cold so Lord can take it. And then to test whether it is hot or cold, he puts his finger in the kheer. So this is all happening in his mind. So he puts the finger in his kheer in his mind to see if it is hot or not. And then the finger actually burns. So this is a very beautiful pastime that says that the Lord accepts even such kind of worship, and that is testimony to how Lord reciprocates. So now coming to what is practical to us, just a couple more slides. I think, yeah, I have five more minutes. So couple more slides for this. So how about practically, what is the benefit for us in this modern age? Having deities, for a few years, I can say this is like the best thing that you can do in devotional service. Of course, for Kali Yuga, we have the Harinam Sankirtan is the most recommended. But I can tell you, how much attentively we chant, I don't know. But deity service will give you complete absorption. So at least, it's been that way for me. So these are my deities, my Radha Shamsundar here. And then, in the benefits, I wanted to put them under 5 P's just to remember easily. So one is they become the pivot of the family. Then we'll go into details of these 5. So this is how they become the pivot in the family. So deity worship brings family together. It is said that a family that prays together stays together. So this is very much true when you have deities at home, and it really regulates grihastha life. So again, regulation is part of our sadhana. So we have to lead regulated lives, and deity worship is immensely useful to regulate one's life. So because the deities are there, you cannot whimsically get up at 9 o'clock and not take care of them. Or even if we don't want to eat that day, we get up and cook for them. So we bathe them, we dress them. So it becomes a very regulated grihastha life. And when children, trust me, are watching this happening in the household, when mother and father are engaged in deity worship, it really builds nice samskaras in children. And we hear that Srila Prabhupada also always mentions that as a child, whenever he used to get up to the sound of bell being rung by his father in the puja room. So that is his consciousness. It helps evolve children's consciousness nicely, and then it unites families, because that is like a family time. Even though during the day you're in mode of passion and you may be running here and there, everybody may get busy. But if you take out 15 minutes of everybody's time at certain fixed time in the morning and do deity worship together, then it really unites families. And if you do, just not much time, half an hour, 1 hour deity worship if you can give, and if you can just bring all the family for 10 minutes of that kirtan, 10 minutes of that Mangal Aarti, then the home can be transformed into a temple. So it's a very effective way of bringing family members together, a very effective way of regulating your life, and a very effective way of teaching samskaras to the children. And then it elevates your consciousness. When you do deity worship, it elevates your consciousness from mode of passion and ignorance. You will go into mode of goodness, because it is regulated. It is a regulative process, so your consciousness will also improve. And then it is one way that cleanliness comes into our home, because you're serving the Lord. Your cooking has to be clean, your kitchen has to be clean, your utensils have to be clean. So it promotes cleanliness. And then because we assume that deity is like the father of the house, he becomes the controller. So when everybody's interest is in serving the deity, then this internal clashes of, you're in control, or the husband thinks he's in control, wife thinks she's in control, all that will disappear, because now everybody's single common interest would be to serve the deity who acts as a controller. So a lot of relationship issues can also be solved by doing proper deity worship. Then it is a very good engagement for our gross body, meaning, these karmendriyas and gyanendriyas we can use very nicely, just like Ambarish Maharaj to serve deity. So you can use all your senses, you can use your eyes to behold the Lord, you can use your hands to clean the puja room, you can use your nose to smell the flowers that we offer to the Lord. You can hear kirtan that is usually accompanying the Archa Vigraha worship. So all those senses are now engaged in Krishna, so it becomes devotional service. And then by doing this, you'll become free from clutches of Maya. So just like, Harinam also frees you from clutches of Maya, even deity worship will do it. And if somebody has, an agitated mind or senses, it does relieve. So, because the deity is so beautiful, when you start, engaging in their service, all this mind disturbance will go away and your consciousness will be immediately elevated. And then deity worship is also immensely satisfying. So it says, Yasmin Tushte, Jagat Tushte, means whenever you serve the Lord, whenever the Lord is satisfied, the entire Jagat, including you, your family, and the world will become satisfied, because He is absolute. So He is absolute truth. So anytime you satisfy the Lord, we are also becoming satisfied. And a lot of satisfaction in, like dressing the Lord, decorating the Lord, and instead of shopping for ourselves, now we shop for the Lord. So we want to, him to look beautiful. So your focus completely, when you go out, you want to bring fruits for the Lord, you want to bring flowers for the Lord, you want to bring ornaments for the Lord. So there's constant remembrance of the Lord, and then probably those who have young children, when you dress a young child and the child looks beautiful, you're very happy because you've decorated the child, you want to take pictures. And also similarly, when we dress deities and they look beautiful, you like cannot take your eyes off them. So it's very satisfying, both to you and to the Lord also. And then it's a very powerful method of devotion service, as I'm telling, because it improves all other aspects of devotion service. So all other aspects also will improve, because your consciousness is now elevated, and then Archa Vigraha worship is that potent. And if you do Archa Vigraha worship properly, also you're connecting more with the Lord. So that Lord gives you, that proper intelligence, and your japa also becomes very strong. Then for those that are preaching, the preaching efforts also become strong, because you're so dedicated with the deities. And then it detaches you from the material world, because you are serving this absolute truth that is very satisfying. You gradually become detached from the material entanglements. And they describe this deity worship as being an elevator to spiritual world. So instead of taking, stairs to the spiritual world, once you engage in deity worship, it is an elevator to the spiritual world. And then deities become very personal. So you can take their ashray. Suppose you have, some troubled times in your home, you can really, relate to the deity. You can talk to them. Actually, there's one verse in Bhagavatam that says, devotees talk to me. So, the Lord reciprocates to those pure devotees. So you can take shelter of Him. And there's a lot of reciprocation stories. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through these. So, but these are all, lovely pastimes of, how Lord reciprocates. So this is where uh, Lord gives a small shila for him, because he's old and he cannot circumambulate the Govardhan shila. And this is Janabai, who works very hard, grinding the grains every day. And then Krishna comes personally to, help her grind the grains. So many pastimes, so many reciprocation stories are there. And these are not just, from Shastras, even from, recent times there are indications that the deities actually reciprocate. So those that are worshipping purely, the deities do reciprocate. And sometimes we hear stories from our friends also how deities reciprocate. So it's a very beautiful feeling. It's a very beautiful relationship with the deities you can have. And then it definitely, the other P is purification. So one was the pivot of family, then this is purification. So it removes our sinful reactions when you're engaged in the service of the absolute. So this is, devotion service you're doing. It removes the anarthas, and then you develop this, premanjana churita, the eyes to see the Lord. And then the third P is it gives you prerna. Prerna means, encouragement. So Adhyatmic prerna you get when we see the deity beautifully decorated, and there's a nice verse in Bhagavatam that says, I'll just read the meaning. The eyes which do not look at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu are like those printed on the plumes of peacock. And the legs which do not move to the holy places are considered to be like tree trunks. Means what it means is, even though you have eyes, but you're not looking at the deity form, then it is just like, the peacock feathers have those prints, right? They look like eyes. So they're not real eyes. I mean, they're not doing their function. So if you are not looking at the deity form with these eyes that the Lord gave us, then we are not actually doing the function of our eyes. So they're just like the printed plumes of the peacock feather and not real eyes. So that's how your eyes should be, used for regarding the deity. Then the other P is the prasadam. And we all know that, how Lord sanctifies the food we offer, and that Lord takes patram pushpam phalam toyam. How we should offer, it's just not, what we offer. He accepts the bhakti. So it is the devotion with which you offer. It is not like, chapan bhog or anything. Even if you offer one item, we should do it with devotion. And the Lord accepts this bhakti. And although we think Krishna is far away, he is very close. So tat dure tat antike, they say. So wherever we are offering something to Krishna with devotion, that devotion brings him. So he'll come right to us when we are offering this with devotion. And this becomes prasadam because Krishna is reciprocating with the devotion. By how does this become prasad? He makes it, he imbibes it with his Swarupa Shakti or his internal potency. So then it becomes prasadam. And I just skip. And then the other thing is prema. So it allows us to get that Krishna prema. So deity worship will facilitate Krishna prema. How? Because we have this personal relationship with the deity, and it is intense remembrance. Intense remembrance is allowed. Then that goes on to Shraddha, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. And so your sadhana bhakti, that which starts as a regulative principle of, doing deity worship. So initially you may be doing it as a regulative principle, because my guru told me I'm doing, or, I'm offering because I have to offer 2 times a day, something. So it starts as a sadhana bhakti, but eventually it becomes raganuga and prema bhakti. So eventually your development and attachment to the Lord increases, and you will start to offer spontaneously out of love, not as a regulation, but as an offering of love. And this remembrance that the deities give is very, very important, because, at the end of life, antakale chamameva smaran mukta kalevaram. So we have to remember the Lord. So this remembrance is very, very important. If we have deities, I think it gives you such intense attachment that, our remembrance for this purpose at the end of life is very, very enhanced by the Lord. And the Lord says, even if you don't remember me, this yati vatadi doshena madbhakto mam na chasmaret aham smarami madbhakta nayami paramam gatim, means even if you don't remember me, I will remember you. So those that have done devotional service and deity worship and have, touched the body of the Lord, even if we forget at the end of life because of some illness or some coma or something, then the Lord promises that, he will remember us. So a little bit words of caution is that deity worship is for life. So somebody who takes deity worship has to take it very seriously. It is not like one day I'm going to offer prasad, second day I'm not going to offer. So it is every day for life. And some places, some shastras say it needs, diksha and a spiritual master. It has to be done with some rules and regulations and no offenses. And deities are a greatest blessing. But if we are not doing hearing and chanting, which is called Bhagavat Vidhi, well, then sometimes we may feel deities are a burden. So the deity worship and Bhagavat Vidhi or chanting should go side by side. Then the mode of worship, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said that, deities should be installed, and we have to develop this mode of Brajvasis, which is what? That intense attachment to Krishna will come when you have deities. And you should also feel like Yashoda feels, like Krishna is dependent on you. So just like Yashoda used to feel, oh, did my Krishna eat? Did my Krishna, get hurt in the forest? So all this anxiety feelings she used to have because she always thought that Krishna is dependent on her for her care. So similarly, when we have deities, even though they are, Supreme Lord and Supreme Haladini Shakti, you have to feel that, as they are dependent on us, so we have to serve them regularly. Serve them in a way that pleases them. So that is how the mood should be. Method I will skip. There's a Pancharatriki Vidhi of, you can do 16 steps or 10 steps or 5 steps. But this is, another level of people who are engaged in devotee worship need to know. But while doing devotee worship, this verse says that, we should also develop the habit that we are seeing every living entity as spiritual. So this verse says that while you're doing devotee worship, the devotee should regularly see my statues in the temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer worshipful paraphernalia and prayers. He should see in the spirit of renunciation the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual. So this is what Krishna is telling about how we can do deity worship and at the same time develop this equal vision. So this is a little bit about method. So thank you very much. I think I exceeded my time, but thought this is important. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Sakiradik Mataji, right? I think questions we'll take it in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, Sakiradik Mataji.
It's fine, Mataji. I think you can take up the questions because
Any
then
questions?
it will be
Yeah,
connected
anybody
to
has
the
questions?
Somebody is saying, can you please share PPT?
Yeah, I will. Apart from that, any questions? Everybody knows everything about deity worship? I know I was a little rushed because it's a very extensive topic, but a beautiful topic. So,
Yes, Mataji.
little rushed it was. So, no questions? Hare Krishna. Yeah, I don't think any questions, Mataji.
Yeah, yes.
So I
Okay,
stop
Mataji.
sharing, Mataji.
Yeah, should I start, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Shalini has written, thank you so much, Mataji, for this session.
I mean, from personal experience, I can tell you, having devotees is like very, very, very nice.
Having deities, Mataji. Having like you have Sundar. You have such a
my Sham Sundar.
beautiful.
I put the one in the red
Yes.
dress is also Sham Sundar, my Sham Sundar. So yes, very, very.
For those who don't know, Radhika Mataji has beautiful deities. That is Shri Radha Sham Sundar, and they are very beautiful.
These are my deities.
Yeah.
And these are also my deities.
Mataji dresses them so nicely.
So I just want to share, it's absorption. So if you want to really absorb yourself in the Lord, you have to get deities. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We also have Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra at home. Mataji, please come to our humble house once to see Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra.
I saw your deities, Mataji. Beautiful deities.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Want to start?
Yeah. I'll start, Mataji.